We started our trip by flying into Las Vegas. My sister and I both flew in at night and then spent the morning walking around, eating pancakes, and doing a little tour of Las Vegas. Around late morning, maybe 11:30, we decided to drive out and start our journey to Zion. Now this drive is about 2.5 hours long, but it actually went by pretty fast because the views were really pretty of the mountains, the surrounding areas, and we were both pumped to get to Zion. Now our first stop was the Kolob Canyons.
Oh, it's so pretty with the snow.
Yeah, that's so cool. The canyons are located in the northwest portion of Zion, and since they're not right next to Springdale or all the other attractions of Zion, they're a lot of times overlooked. But we decided to go here anyways because we read some really good comments about this portion of the park. It was really deserted, though. You can see the parking lot is practically empty. I think we're the only people there. We saw at most maybe 2 other cars the entire time, but you can just see it's beautiful, remote, and the snow made it extra pretty. It was a little tricky driving, so we were just a little bit slower on that, but you can see there we're on Kolob Canyon Road. It's a beautiful, maybe 5-minute scenic driveway, and then we ended at the trailhead. And so there are trails in this section of the park, but as you can see, they're really snowy. They weren't paved. They were immersed with snow. So we decided to turn back and head to Springdale, which is where our hotel is. Hi everyone, welcome to a new video. We are in Zion. Woo! We just drove here after 2-3 hours from Las Vegas, and we are ready to get food. So here we go.
Pizza night.
Pizza night. Here is a little room tour. We stayed at the Bumbleberry Inn, which I definitely recommend. It was really nice, very cute. We had a little balcony, and there was a hot tub we used both nights. Here we are. Hello. You can't even see really, but there's some mountains back there. Hi, so we're in Zion right now. We're doing the Zion Canyon Scenic Drive, and it's super pretty. There's our view right now, and then here is also our view. And so right now we're actually going to stop at Court of Patriarchs. The view itself from this drive is just so pretty, and Amanda's been a great driver. There she is. So we intended just to see the Court of Patriarchs and go back to the car and drive to the next spot, but we ended up walking all the way from the Court of Patriarchs to the Emerald Pools and spending almost the entire day doing this. It wasn't really planned, but I'm really glad we did it. It was really cool to see different terrain. You could see it's really snowy over here. There's parts where it's less snowy, there's parts where it's really icy, and you can see as elevation changes how the terrain also changes, and that was really cool. Because we went in winter, it wasn't as crowded. You could see there's barely anyone. I mean, we did take a path that wasn't as touristy or well advertised, so we didn't see a lot of people on the trail, and that was kind of like it for the rest of the day until we got to the Emerald Pools. We did see those deer though, and they were super cute. We didn't get too close, but it was really fun meeting those friends. Now I'm not really sure where the trail we were on, which I couldn't even find a name for online. It wasn't very obvious. And where that ends and the Emerald Pool Trail begins, but we started going upwards and the trail got a lot icier as well. We eventually made it to the pools. You can see right there some of the pools. It's really icy. definitely would want appropriate shoes. The view was so beautiful from, I think this was middle Emerald Pools. And then we climbed our way down to lower Emerald Pools, and you can see it right there, just the water flowing from the middle Emerald Pools to the lower Emerald Pools. It was, again, a little bit icy, so you had to be really careful, but it was definitely doable. This whole area was all ice. You could see a man struggling a little bit there. Luckily, I was not ported, so I was also struggling. It was all just sheer ice, and we had to hold on to those railings. Wait for the fans! Nice! And then we just made our way back to where we parked. We then drove the rest of the Zion Canyon Scenic Drive all the way to where the Narrows goes, which is the end of the road. We wanted to do this because we knew the next days that we would be here, we would have to use the shuttle, which was great, but we also wanted to explore it in our own car. It was nice exploring in our own car because we could go at our own pace, it was more private, and we didn't have to worry about what times the shuttles were coming. We then went to the visitor center, which I think is important to do at every national park because it's so informative. You can talk to rangers directly. The rangers there are just really passionate, and they know a lot about not just the parks and its history, but also current conditions. For dinner, we went to Mimi's Cafe. It was really good. It probably was actually my favorite meal of the entire trip. I think I had an elk sandwich and Amanda had a burger. For sunset, we went to Watchman Trail. This trail is about a 3-mile hike. We did this for sunset, but we started it a little bit too late. We ended up making it. We were almost to the very top when the sun was actually starting to set. So it was really beautiful, but on the way back, it was very dark. So we didn't get a lot of filming of the way back, but the way there, it was just really, really beautiful. You can see the sun overlooking the canyon. You can see the various vegetation. It was a really beautiful hike that I would definitely recommend.
See Orion's Belt. I know that one. Look at the big difference.
The next morning we woke up really early, around 6 a.m. before sunrise, to go on the Canyon Overlook Trail. The drive to the trail was super pretty, especially seeing the snow and the canyons from a different vantage point. It was just a really nice, maybe half-an-hour drive to the trail from where we were staying. It was a little icy, so we had to be very careful, but then we went through this tunnel, which was really pretty. They had some openings so you could look out and see.
Oh, I thought that was it.
Yep, you can see the beautiful canyons. After we got out of the tunnel, right away was the trail. And we thought this trail would be super easy, and it wasn't a strenuous trail, but it was really close to the edge a lot. So if you are nervous about heights or about cliffs, I wouldn't really recommend this trail. We definitely got a little scared at points. And then we drove back the same way. You can see in the tunnel again, we slowed down a little bit because the roads were pretty empty. And we made it back to the town and we had a really nice breakfast. We then went to Zion Adventure, and that's where we rented our equipment for hiking the Narrows. I would really recommend having specific equipment, specific socks, specific shoes, specific pants to hike the Narrows, because you're really hiking in a river basically, and the patterns for the river and the flow rate can change dramatically, so you just have to be cautious and aware of all the various scenarios you may run into.
Ready to go!
Woohoo! Now, we went in late February when the shuttle system was weekends only. In the summer, I think it's every single day. So the 2 previous days we could use our own car, and then this day we used the shuttle. The shuttle turned out to be really easy to use. It came pretty often.
The third trailhead you'll find in the Zion Lodge will be for the grotto.
And they had commentary, which was super nice and informative. Then we arrived at the Narrows. You could see the flood risk for the day was not super high, but it's definitely something you need to check out before you go to the Narrows. The flood risk, the flow rate of the Virgin River. You can find some more information on this at the National Park Service website or USGS. They post the daily, maybe even hourly flow rate for that river. And so if it's above a certain metric, you know not to go on it. Woohoo! One thing to note about going on this path in the winter, and I think this expands to all of Zion, all the different trails, is that you go across a lot of different terrain, rocky, snowy, sandy, water, and so it's really useful to have proper hiking shoes, and especially in the winter, it's really nice to have ice cleats or something that would increase traction, because there were some points in this trail where we were going over pure ice and it was extremely slippery. So that completes the trail that leads up to the Narrows, and we are officially at the start of the Narrows. Now, we did the bottom up option for hiking the Narrows. You can do one of 2, the bottom up or the top down option. The top down is a little bit more extreme. I think it's 16 miles total. The bottom up is a little bit easier, and it's a more popular option. It starts with the Riverside Walk, which you just saw, and then you hike upriver for several miles and then just return the way you came.
Ready for Narrows today!
Woo! And you can see here the extent of the water falling from the ice and snow melting. It was quite a lot.
Hello, we have made it to a stopping point and we are having snacks and water. And we just came from that way. And then we are going that way.
Yeah, enjoying the sun here.
Yeah,
We got a great little spot. And we're about to go this way. You can see the people going through the deep water over there. But it's a beautiful day.
You can see by these snapshots of our hike that the depth of the river varied greatly, and this was the deepest part probably. It was up to my waist, but this was optional. You can see there is a trail on my right, so I didn't even have to go through this experience, but I was feeling very adventurous. And the equipment we had, jacket and the trousers we had were super waterproof, and I felt very warm, so I went for it. We turned back after around 2-3 hours of hiking right before Wall Street, which is one of the landmarks on the trail. So it made for a total of about 4 to 5 hours of hiking.
We made it across the river.
We ended our time in Zion checking out Angel's Landing. We didn't go to the top. We knew right away that we were both scared of heights and we were not going to do it, but we were still curious about it, so we did the beginning portion of the hike and we got to check out what it looked like. And this concludes our wonderful time in Zion. Our next stop is Bryce Canyon, which we are also making a video about, including Antelope Canyon, Horseshoe Bend, and the Grand Canyon. So please come back and see the next video.